Yeah. What's up, good people, and welcome to another episode of Keep It Thorough, where we give you the real behind business, health, money, and self development, and introduce engaging concepts to help you perform better in all areas of life. I'm your host, Cedric Lavelle, joined by my counterpart, Mr. E Double.
E double. We back at y'all. It's episode 93. The title of this episode is Business Dilemma: How to Overcome Industry Shifts. As always, we got a good episode on tap for y'all. And, be sure to join the website and, look through the kit that corresponds to this episode. And, also podcast with us wherever you podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we back again.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Tell a friend, tell a
But
friend.
with all that said, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Said, hey, and y'all excuse me, man. My voice is a little off, man. I was sick a little earlier this week, but we don't miss with these episodes, man. So we back at y'all.
No doubt. Yes, sir. Man, so business dilemmas, right? So here's the real. No matter the industry, you can be in e-commerce, you can be in hospitality, you can be in construction. It doesn't matter. Every business is going to have some sort of dilemma at certain points in their life cycle. And the common denominator is that it's impossible to avoid, right? You can't avoid the challenges and the difficulties that come with operating and running a business. There can be issues with profitability. You can have issues with customer service, consumer behaviors, processes, countless amounts of other things, right? And with every form of resistance that a business receives, there's a responsibility for that business to respond in a way that produces results, right? And so no matter what issue that you're challenged with and that you're facing, the ultimate goal is, how can I navigate through this challenge and still be able to produce a result, right? And the problem that can often occur with a lot of businesses is the predicament that they get themselves put in. They allow it to pull them into uneasiness opposed to pushing them to evolve. And I believe in any business, if you're going to function at a high level, you have to be able to take those uncomfortable moments and embrace them and allow them to be able to put you in a position where it becomes the catalyzing of growth opportunities. It puts you in a position to where you're being more innovative and coming up with these new ideas and new responses and all these other things. So, how you respond to those difficulties and those unplanned moments, those are the things that make or break your business. You know what I'm saying? And so what you want to do is learn how to separate yourself from the situation more strategically, and so you can move forward with a more effective and more industry focused shift that aligns with your goals, your missions, so you can create some sustainability and not allow those changes to destroy your business. I mean, that's the goal.
No, absolutely, man. So the wheels of change, and to piggyback off of what Sid just mentioned about industry shifts, depending on the industry that you're in, some change way faster than others. So, if you think about, like the health industry, for instance, that's not an industry where you see a ton of change, quickly because of the impact that it has, right? Like people's health and well-being isn't something you necessarily want to toy with. So, there's a lot of research and a lot of stuff that goes into that before they actually make huge industry shifts. Like they're typically a little slower to adapt to technology and things like that, right? But so in our world, our world is a fast-paced instrument led by technological advancements, connected by information, and that information just keeps moving, right? So this progress creates enormous economic shifts, impacting various industries in ways no one could ignore. And late adaptability can put a business at a competitive disadvantage, while those who embrace the change find themselves creating new ways to succeed. And to go back to my point about, depending on the industry that you're in, it's important to know, how quickly things change in your industry, and being open to those changes. And it's important to navigate those changes with resilience and adaptability, which fuels sustained growth, right? So if you're not willing to adapt, to learn new things, to look at your competitors and look at the competitive landscape and see what they're doing, what they're embracing, where they're having some successes, where they're having some challenges, and also use that as a gauge and measuring stick with your own data, right? So with what you're having success with, where you're having challenges, are you having similar challenges to other businesses in your particular industry, or are your challenges different from your competitor, and they are not necessarily having some of the same challenges that you're having? Like, so have they adopted or implemented different types of technology, or different processes, or partnered with someone who's able to minimize their workload, right, or what have you. So it's very, very important to understand that will of change and those industry shifts and adapt to them, because if you don't, it can be detrimental to your business and your organization.
Absolutely, bro. And you don't want that, especially
No,
especially
absolutely, you don't
especially
want
if,
that.
if you've built something from the ground up and you've put your efforts into it. You want to be able to put yourself in a position where your business is sustainable. And I believe really that most businesses suffer through industry shifts because they're unaware of the strategies that will enable them to survive. Like they don't know what moves to make. Like, especially if there's a situation where it's unplanned and you're not expecting certain things to happen, it puts you in a situation where it's almost like you got your hands tied and you don't know which direction to go. And for any company to experience some form of success, you have to have survival skills, right? Because if you want to build a sustainable business, you can't just focus on one specific moment or one specific goal within your business without taking into consideration everything else that's going to come along the way when you're pursuing your mission. Like, there's a lot of different things that can happen or that will transpire as you're pursuing, your ultimate goal. And you have to plan and you have to prepare for every single thing. And obviously, with technological changes and advancements that come, certain things you may have not been prepared for, i.e., like the pandemic. A lot of businesses weren't prepared with some of the effects of the pandemic. And they had to shift. They had to make changes. Some businesses were able to survive, some were not. But
A lot of
a
them were
lot of them
not.
were not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that goes into industry shifts. That goes into those dilemmas that a lot of businesses can experience. And if you're not aware of how to pivot or how to survey the environment or the industry, it's going to leave you in a bad spot, right? And so one thing that you want to do is environmental scanning, right? And so that's understanding the current industry landscape, and detecting any impending shifts, right? And what that does is it allows you to identify opportunities and threats to the business operation. So anytime that you're starting a business, anytime that you're operating within the business, you always want to look to see things long term, and you always want to try to identify threats that could potentially occur no matter how good the industry is happening. What is some of the most challenging, or what are some of the most dangerous or threatening things that can happen to my business and my model that will force me to make changes? You have to survey, you have to scan the environment, you have to always be in alignment with your mission, but also be aware of some of the things that could potentially happen based off of how your industry and how your business is structured. And then the second thing that you want to do is have the good old resilience and adaptability. You know what I'm saying? Just like you have with your life, you want to take the same approach with your business, right? And with these particular things, they're going to enable you to weather the storms of change and bounce back stronger and implement any type of necessary modifications to the way that you operate. And you can take that from your personal life, you can take that to your professional life. You know, you want to have resilience, you want to be able to adapt to certain changes, and you want to take those moments and use those moments as a stepping stone and not a stumbling block, so you can still experience success. You want to take some of the strategies that you gain from those moments, some of the intel, some of the information, some of the insight that you gained, and use it as leverage to push your business forward. Don't allow those situations to push you back and make you feel like you're failing and there's no way out. Use those moments to really fuel you to push yourself forward. And then the next thing is just innovation. You want to always be innovating. You want to always make an emphasis on researching and developing, understanding, you know, if you create solutions that are more efficient with your process, those things are going to help you overcome dilemmas, you know, because if you're continuously thinking about how to make your business better, improvement can always lead to growth, sustainability, and additional opportunities. You know what I'm saying? And so you consist. You want to be consistent with improvement. You want to be consistent with your approach. You want to be consistent with your learning and your development, and that's what creates those keys that are going to be needed whenever there's industry shifts. You have to be invested. You know what I'm saying? You have to, if you want to return on your business, you have to be invested in every facet of the business, every aspect of the business. It's inevitable, and it's impossible to get around it if you ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. So speaking on business shifts, right? So we always like to use real world, examples or make it tangible. So most of us, depending on how old you are, which I think most people who subscribe to our podcast, should be familiar with this company, but Blockbuster.
Remember them days,
right?
boy, walking up in that store.
And there was another one too, like Hollywood Video.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, I remember Hollywood Video.
And then but Blockbuster, and I actually kind of missed this because it was a different thing, right? On like a Friday night, a Saturday night,
That was like ritual, bro.
Blockbuster. Yeah, you go, grab a video, figure out what, VHS or DVD or whatever, what video we gonna watch. And I remember tapes and they wasn't rewound.
Yeah, man, make you mad. It started in the middle of the movie. Like, man, you're supposed to rewind this. It tells you that right on the thing.
Well, no, for sure, right? But anyway, Blockbuster. Blockbuster was was a leader in the movie rental industry, right? And then when Netflix, Netflix and chill, when Netflix emerged and introduced streaming services that forever altered how we watch movies and TV shows. It literally changed the game. And there was a couple steps before that, right? Because we had things like red boxes where you can go and, pay for it and rent it and take it home without the need of going to, a Blockbuster. Yeah. You could just go up to a machine. It simplified the process.
Convenience.
And, Redbox are still around, but Netflix changed the game. To be able to not leave your house, right? To be able to literally, and initially, Netflix, I actually think they still offer this service where they'll mail you movies and then you just mail them back. Which most people don't do that. They pay for the streaming service because of the convenience, right? But again, Blockbuster was a leader in the movie industry, the movie rental industry, and when Netflix emerged, it changed everything. And unfortunately, Blockbuster failed to adapt to the industry shifts, and it led to their demise. And Netflix now is a household name, right? Like we literally got a saying in pop culture, Netflix and chill. Like it's literally a thing, like it's damn near a verb. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we finna go Netflix.
Finna go Netflix.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but this is a classic story of industry shifts and the significance of identifying them in a timely manner. And you have to adapt to the evolving market demands. The real world consequences of not adjusting to industry shifts can have dire business
Oh
implications,
yeah.
right? So Blockbuster, I don't know if they just ignored the competitor.
I didn't take them
You
serious.
know, I don't know. I don't know if they were trying to compete and just weren't doing it fast enough. But what we do know is not moving fast enough led to their
Yeah.
demise. And now Blockbuster no longer exists. Now I think I might have read something where they were gonna open up like a store on some like nostalgia type situation. Because again, I'm not gonna lie to you, that experience of going to, you know, a movie and, you know, which we married now and all that type of stuff. But you know, if you're a teenager or, you know, a young professional and you single, you know, you go out there, you might meet a little lady,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or if you're a lady, you might meet a little a guy, you know what I'm saying? It was, you know, conversation
Hey,
like,
what
oh,
movie
what
you
movie you
watching?
watching? Like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, yeah, you know, or might you might get some good you know,
Right.
recommendations on some movies or
Yeah.
something, just being in there talking to people. Cause, you know, typically that was a fun
It
place
was an
to be.
experience.
You know, like yeah. You know, you were there to, you know, for
Yeah.
entertainment. You know, you trying to find something to watch and, you know, go have a good time. So, you know, it was definitely a good experience, but that experience was not enough to save
Right.
them. You know, they had to adjust and adapt and invest into the
Right.
infrastructure, which it was the technology, right? Like that. Netflix was one of the first large companies that you know, embrace the power of the cloud, right? And I know some people understand the cloud, other people don't. The easiest way to think about it is a storage drive somewhere managed by a company. You
Yeah.
know, that's really the easiest way to think about it. But Blockbuster didn't invest in that infrastructure. They thought that their business model was the correct business model and that it would, you know, see them through. And again, we all know how that turned out.
Yeah.
So, you know, business shifts in the real world. You know, you have to be mindful, you have to adapt, you have to see what the market is demanding, what your customer base is wanting, how they're evolving, how they're using products that are similar to yours, and is it creating a more convenient and easy experience? And sometimes it costs
Yeah.
more, but they like that though. People pay for
Absolutely.
convenience because Netflix definitely costs more than, you know. I don't even know how much movies used to cost to rent, but I don't remember it being expensive. Like you probably pay, you know, five, ten
Couple
dollars or
dollars.
something. Now, if you
Right.
was one of the people that was late, you know, and I feel like they weren't $10 even. I feel like you know you probably got a couple movies for $10, you know. But now unless you was late returning them, then you pay some late fees. But again, I think Netflix is definitely more expensive than what, you know,
Blockbuster
renting
was.
movies from
Yeah.
Blockbuster or Hollywood Video was. But yeah, definitely important to you know, be adaptable.
That's imperative, man. You got to be adaptable, and like you said, the biggest thing is be willing to invest in infrastructure and changes, and I think a lot of times what happens is a lot of businesses get stuck in doing something a certain way for an extended period of time that it's hard for them to change, or it's hard for them to take a different approach and a different perspective on how business is done. You see it a lot of times with a lot of companies when you have these big changes that go on within a company, and some of the older people that work there, it's hard to get them to operate differently because it's something that they're
Yeah, to
unfamiliar
embrace.
with. It they don't want to embrace it, right? And the saying goes is how you do anything is how you do everything. And to me, what that reflects is your behaviors and the actions that you take on one situation. You're likely going to take those same actions as you approach another situation. And so if you operate and you approach business in one way, when certain things start to come about and you have to change, a lot of times you're going to be reluctant to do it because of the behaviors that you've already created, right? And so if you're wanting to be able to have some sustainability, if you're wanting to be able to change and still be relevant through industry shifts, you have to have a playbook. You have to know which approach to take. How do you navigate what strategies you should implement. And so some of the key things that you want to do within that process is just adopt a proactive approach. And so stay updated with industry trends and anticipate changes before they occur, right? And anticipation gives your business an edge over competition. Just like with Netflix, and he was just talking about it. You have to study your competitors. If a business is approaching and saying that they're doing X, Y, and Z, see why they're saying these things. See why people are more attracted to this company or this business model opposed to yours, and see what you need to do to have some sustainability or be able to stay relevant as those things are occurring. Don't get big headed. Don't get stubborn. Don't feel like you're the big business on the block and no one can take you down, because obviously that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? So adopt a proactive approach to every situation within your business. Next thing, embrace innovations. You know what I'm saying? So foster a culture of innovation that encourages new ideas and solutions. Like, you can't get stagnated. You can't focus on one way of doing one thing. You have to have multiple ways of doing a lot of things, because you never know what's going to happen. And I think the one key thing with that, if your brand is strong enough and you've invested enough time and attention into your brand and what your brand stands on, as you navigate and go through these changes, your customer base is still going to stay intact. You may lose a few people here and there, but if your brand is strong enough, as you go through these innovations, they're going to embrace them and appreciate them long term if you're doing it the right way and you're going about it the right way. Next thing would just be provide employee training. So equipping your team with necessary skills to navigate through industry shifts. And that employee training can be a lot of different things. You can improve their skill set, their knowledge. You can improve their customer service. You can improve their sales, the marketing, the advertising. You have to continuously invest into your people. And a lot of businesses suffer because they don't invest enough time in developing their workers, their people, their partners, whatever the case may be, whoever it may be. Invest in your people.
The onboarding process sucks.
Right. You lose people in that process. So it's imperative that you invest in developing your people, develop them mentally, professionally, all emotionally. You got to help them, because if your business isn't built strong, when these industry shifts start to happen, they're going to falter, and then you're going to start seeing those opportunities being missed, and you're going to start seeing your business suffer. The next thing is just review your business model. So regularly review your business model to ensure it remains relevant and practical amidst change. Don't be scared to change. Don't be scared to pivot. Don't be scared to shift. Don't be scared to adapt. You can't focus on doing the same thing the same way and expect to get the same results. It doesn't happen like that. Like, you have to be willing to pivot and change the approach that you take to your business. And then the last thing is develop strategic partnerships. And I can't say that again. Develop strategic partnerships. So collaborate with other businesses to manage industry shifts effectively. And that's an important thing as well too. And again, I feel like if your brand is strong and you've established your brand successfully and effectively, you can use that as leverage when you're looking to have these partnerships. If you're telling this other business, hey, I can offer you X, Y, and Z. This is what I have. I see that you have this, and this. Here's how it can be effective for the both of us and be mutually beneficial. That strategic partnership can lead to better results and the ability to navigate through these industry shifts. And you see it all the time when businesses make these acquisitions, when things are starting to change up. Microsoft did it. You know what I'm saying? When AI started to make these changes, they invested. They put money into the infrastructure, and then you start to see the fruits of the labor as time progresses and years after, man. So you have to be smart about the way that you go about handling your business. Be invested in your business. That way you can navigate through these business dilemmas.
Hey, 1,000%, man. Mastering the art of adaptation, right? That's what it's all about. Mastering the art of adaptation. So here, man. So in summary, right? Embracing industry shifts is more than just a strategy. It's a survival skill in a cutthroat business world,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And that's I don't even need to add on to that. That really speaks for itself. So staying afloat through changes often revolves around understanding dilemmas, recognizing industry shifts, and implementing measures that safeguard your company's stability while enabling growth, right? And some of the things that you need to do is, as you know, a organization or a business, is you have to be nimble.
Yeah.
You can't be stuck in your ways. You have to be willing to pivot. Like we talked about, the importance of investing and now different ways you can invest, whether that's in technology, whether that's in additional workers so you can grow. Because maybe your, employee size is not large enough to accommodate your customers and you're overworking them, which is going to create a bad experience not only for your workers, but then that's going to trickle up to your customers, right? It's going to be a bad experience for them. And sometimes you need to downsize. Sometimes it's too many of y'all. You got too much money and going out to employees, and things may have slowed down. And if you stay the size you are, you're gonna kill yourself. So sometimes you got to downsize. And then sometimes you need to reorganize. Microsoft is a master of this. Yeah. Every few years they reorganize the company. They reorganize. They put these people here, move these people there. To be more efficient and to adapt to the industry changes, right? This group over here may not be as useful as they used to be, because the technology has changed. So we need to move people around. And then, it's important to invest in new talent. You need new ideas.
Fresh ideas.
You can't, bring fresh perspective in to challenge some of the old status quo. And those that new talent can bring a fresh take and a fresh energy that companies often need. And then sometimes you need to change leadership.
Yeah.
Sometimes it starts at the top. They say people don't quit companies; they quit bosses.
Yeah, quit leaders.
Right. They quit leaders because they're not aligned. Yeah. They're not.
That happens so often, bro. It's so often, man.
And that leader who was once, a trailblazer, very motivating, very dynamic, may not be that no more. So sometimes you have to shake up the leadership. You either can promote within, or some of that new talent that you acquired, put them in some leadership positions. But it's very, very important. And if you look at any of the most successful businesses in the world, they do all of those things. All of them. Companies the size of a Microsoft, an Apple, and a Google, as large as they are very nimble. Mm-hmm. They will switch at the drop of a dime. They will implement something at the drop of a dime.
You won't even know it.
And you won't know it, or in certain situations you will know it. For a company the size of Microsoft to do what they've done with AI and the amount of time that they've done it, and to literally have implemented it across their entire technology stack, shows you that they're not scared. Right. We will make adjustments, we will make changes. We're not scared.
And I think that
we're going to do what we need to do to survive.
I think that goes into what I was saying with the brand, the strength of the brand. Microsoft is so strong. Exactly. It made these changes and everybody embraced it. It's like, okay, this is going to improve it.
And really those changes with their new, which Satya is the CEO now, so he's not new, but when he was brought on, promoted, he was one that was promoted internally, brought a new set of leadership and ideas, right, that allowed them to grow the brand grow the brand influence. Because Microsoft did not have a good brand perception 10 years ago. Right? It's changed significantly. So that's the important. Now, a company like Apple, they're known for their brand recognition, and they also not scared to make changes. They'll do whatever they need to do. That's going to be better for their bottom line. And, they provide such a good product and they have such brand loyalty that their customers just say, maybe I do need this. Maybe I do.
I trust you.
Yeah, right. But with all that said, man, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We greatly appreciate y'all as always. My bad. Did you want
Nah,
to add
bro,
anything?
I'm good,
Sid?
man. We solid.
Yeah. But we greatly appreciate y'all as always, and y'all know how it go, man. If you don't do nothing else,
Keep it
keep it
thorough.
thorough.
Yeah.
And
Till
we'll
next
holler
time,
at y'all
Kid
next
Nation.
time. Deuces.